I drive. Pretty much, I want to just kind of talk and say a couple of things. I want to say happy holidays this day. I have been looking into so many different things the last couple of weeks, right? Last couple of weeks, I've been looking into so many things. For example, to teach. I was able to teach about Kwanzaa at the Latimer House, the Lewis Latimer House here in New York. I live here in New York. I live in Queens. And what happens is that I was able to be a teacher, and so I had to learn for first part about what Kwanzaa was, and because it was going to be a Kwanzaa mask sculpting class, so I spent like a couple of weeks before getting to know what the whole thing what Kwanzaa is about, and then after that, I had to kind of tie it into my sculpting class, which turned out really well, by the way. I totally enjoyed it. We had I was told that there was about 70 people who signed up, and we had to cap it at 40, and so hopefully there'll be another class coming up in the future. So right now I'm in my car, kind of warming it up, and it's really cold. It's about I'm not sure exactly how cold it is, but they're talking about how it's super cold here in New York, and I feel it. Let me tell you. And so I had to walk, and so I'm walking. I'm just in my car letting it warm up because it's like it has to kind of warm before you start driving this thing. So anyway, long story short, I want to just kind of say a couple things. I want to say happy holidays. I was looking into. See, I was talking to my family last night on a text message, and I was telling them about the whole thing about Christmas and how Christmas is not really the birth of Jesus. It's not really that day. We kind of tie it into the birth of Jesus, but there's a lot of other world-renowned, I guess, pagans that are celebrated that time as well. So you have, like, for example, you have Mithra, and you have Tammuz, and you have Esubis and Saturnalius, and a lot of other ones. I'm not 100% sure if there's if Odin is Thor, Odin's, or I guess Odin's dad, Thor, Odin's dad, Thor's dad, Odin, is also celebrated at him either. But I just want to say a couple things. I want to say, like, it's been crazy. So what I learned about Kwanzaa is that it's not a religious holiday. It's not a political holiday. What it is actually, it's a cultural holiday, and it was invented by a gentleman, Maluna Karanga, a professor, Maluna Karanga, and he invented 7 principles of what it should be in order for us to, as Black people, as well as people which kind of reunite about our culture, because what has happened in America has been fracturalization of the Black people, and many times what I found is that just kind of like learning is that there's an aspect where it's like what I learned was that there's an aspect where it's kind of been a continual thing for Black people to continue to go through the system of being oppressed. And in the 7 principles of Kwanzaa, the first one was about unity, and it's the black candle. It's the first black candle. That comes after 26 to the January 1st is when they have it. So 26, the first candle is in Mocha. The next one is hard to pronounce, but it's try to remember. It's Kurakajulia, Kurakajulia, and that means self-determination. And next one after that is Ujima, and it's pretty much economic. When we work together, cooperative economics. Then one after that is oh goodness, I should probably just look it over in my book. I have it written down. No point guessing. Just trying to get it. There's Ujima. There's Ujama. I'll just read it because what I did was I went through the whole trouble of making it, so I'm going ahead and just read it to you. So, Umoja, and that's unity. The Kajulia, that's self-determination. The next one for that is Ujima, which is collective work and responsibility. You have Uchama, which is cooperative economics. That's the fourth day. The fifth day is Nia, which is purpose. The sixth day is Kumba, which is creativity, which we emphasize a lot when we're doing the works. We're doing the works and doing our sculptures. It's Kumba, which is creativity, and the last one is Imani, which is faith. And what made it so awesome was that it talked about like kind of reuniting people, because it said in order for people to get together, they had to have purpose of thought. For example, you have like the Amish people. The Amish people have a lot of similarities. I don't know much about the Amish, but I just know that when they get their mind together, they could put a barn up in like a day, right? And that's pretty cool. The other one thing I think is pretty cool is that you have when people work together, different ethnic groups work together, they can do a lot of wonderful things. If someone said you have 5 fingers, 5 fingers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and what happens? Your 5 fingers, right? You have one finger by itself. They can't really do much damage, but when you put it all together, you can make a fist, and a fist can punch, and a fist can inflict. But also, a hand can hold and can build stuff. But the thing is, like, one finger by itself can't really do much. I mean, you can just kind of poke and type and stuff, When you use all your fingers to type, you're able to do a lot of wonderful things. Type faster, write stories, put together ebooks, things like that. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of touch base with you on that. And so what happens, like, the conversation I had with my family was, like, they weren't ready to hear it, but it was along the lines of, here you have it where, here you have it where it's like, we have a holiday, we call it Christmas, and for all these years I've, celebrated it, but what we did was that, for in my family, we haven't really celebrated it as much as how we used to when we were younger. Like, for example, remember when we first got married, we had like a tree and all that, and we didn't have a big tree, we had small trees, and when I remember when I was my mom and my dad, we'd always have like a Christmas tree, like we wouldn't have a real one, we never had a real one. I never encountered a real Christmas tree until I started cutting them when I worked at the hardware store I used to work at. Anyway, so long story short, what happened was I found it to be one of those things where we never had a real tree, so we always had the fake trees. We had a fake tree, and then we decorated and put gifts under it. But then that was like when I got older, we never got into that. I never had the whole tree thing. We just kind of didn't do it. We weren't too sure about it, but kind of how things work over time. So I mean, at least all my children, we'd never had a Christmas tree. We never had a Christmas tree in the house since my kids are youngest. And Titus was when he was really, really young, to Abby and Chloe and Lucky. They never had, we never had a Christmas tree. And so as a matter of fact, what we used to do, and we still do, we'd go like on the night before Christmas, like the 24th, we'd go to like Toys R Us, and we'd actually go and just sit and read. And so the kids, we never gave the kids presents on Christmas. We'd always give presents like after or before, but never on, because we thought, if Christmas is about Jesus, then we shouldn't be giving gifts because he's the ultimate gift, right? So what ended up happening was that we decided not to do that. We decided not to do the whole gift giving thing. And I'll never forget one time I took my kids up to we went up to visit my sister upstate, and it was like during Christmas time, and we had spent so many years just kind of teaching the kids about how it's about Jesus, not about gift giving and all that stuff, and how the whole history of it all is kind of crazy. Anyway, long story short, what happened was there was they went there and they saw their cousins, my brother-in-law's nephews and nieces. They had presents given, and then my kid. It took about 10 seconds for the kids to start looking around and say, "Where's my present?" Where it was like, and I said, like, what is it, like 10 years, 8 to 10 years of homeschooling has now been distracted by 10 seconds of seeing gift giving and stuff, And it's kind of funny to see that, but we had to kind of tell the kids that it's not about gift giving and stuff. So what we do throughout the year, we give the kids presents and stuff, because Christmas for children is always about gifts anyway. So I remember when I was younger, in my family, they'd always have they said Christmas for children, they used to say, and there was all that stuff. So they had a thing. We visited my aunts and my uncles, and they would give out presents and money and stuff, and it's like, I understand the sentiment and the reality of it, but what happens is, like, in all honesty, when you start looking at what, the Word of God says compares to, what Christmas is and what it isn't, nowhere in the Bible really says about them celebrating his birth. Maybe, like, the first part, they have a significance of where they come and give him a gift, but you never had the disciples say, hey, come celebrate me, kind of thing, It was like, you celebrate him every day. Jesus is all about every day. And so, it looks like the car's getting pretty warm now. I'm going to turn the heat. All right. Oh, my goodness, it's so cold. All right, so I don't want to be too long, but I just want to say, hey, I'm just thinking about you guys. I want to talk about the principles of Kwanzaa, and there's also 7 principles, as well as 7 days, as well as 7 symbols, and it's all about like family and growth and perpetuating the spirit of that which is broken. Now, the 3 colors of Kwanzaa, you got the red, you got the black, and you got the green. And the red stands for the blood and the struggle of the people. The black one stands for the people themselves, the Africans, the black Americans, black people around the world as a struggle. And then the third one is the green, and green stands for growth. And it's like, so I look at that, it's not like lighting candles to any particular saint or any visible demon or anything like that. It's talking about, like, it's kind of like almost like a Labor Day kind of thing, but it's a principle of getting people's mindset together. And when I saw that, I was really intrigued by it, because, if all holidays are man-made, this is a holiday that talks about the struggles of the African people. And it's not like Black History Month, where we spend a whole week talking about whole month talking about the same black people and their struggle. It's like, no, it kind of talks about, it's about not going out and buying gifts, not becoming commercialized, not about spending stuff. It's about, as a matter of fact, it's where you can make stuff. That's how we were able to tie in. We were able to tie in about the whole thing with our abilities as sculptors, because when we could sculpt something that's homemade, something that we can make and we can give to other people. So anyway, so I just want to say that. I just want to say God bless you. Thank you so much for listening. I know I talked for 9 minutes. That's how long it took to warm this car up. But I gotta go drive. I'll probably talk to you about my gig work that I do at some point. But for the most part, though, I want to say God bless you, and I wish you happy holidays, and I wish you all the best, And if you celebrate and really think about Jesus, think about him. But then there's on Christmas, think about him every day, because he didn't just die for one day. He wasn't born just one day. And usually, the whole time with Saturnalius and Mithra and Esubis and all the different gods that are associated, it's like the Luciferian holiday on the 25th of December. After celebrating solstice and everything, what happens is, like, we have it where the majority of things is kind of to Jesus. Remember, if the world likes a day, it's probably the day we should celebrate on anyway. we celebrated what a day that, or celebrate, because the Bible says about, if he said, if the world hates me, it's going to hate you too. So if the world likes you, it's weird because you're really not supposed to, if you're following Jesus. Anyway, so talk to you soon. Thanks for listening. I wish you all the best. Have a good night and Happy New Year. All right, so take care and bye.